The chamber was dark, foreboding. In the center, a single light shone, to illuminate a shard of hope or some forgotten relic, perhaps? But alas, it was not so, for in the center of the room stood a sarcophagus of gleaming metal, decorated with skulls and blades and glimmering with the shine of untold spells. It was something any worshipper of Mitra would shudder to behold. But for those in the room, this coffin was not an abomination. No, it was a shadow in the sunshine, a dark foretelling of the horror that was to befall Talengard. From the shadow stepped two men, one in dark robes with the cracking of magic about him, the other slim and strangely beautiful. His teeth glittered like silver in the torchlight. The robed man held in one hand a sealed box, from within which could be heard a faint whispering, too quiet to hear clearly, but sinister enough to send shudders down the spine of any living being in earshot. Of which, of course, there were none. The two men wasted no time with idle talk before beginning their dark work. The robed man began chanting in a language long lost to the worlds of men, muttering obscene blasphemies and speaking of triumphs from times long past. From within hidden places by the coffin, the slim man drew mysterious objects: a clacking bag as black as pitch, 4 thin blades of onyx, a goblet of solid gold. One by one, the man thrusted the blades into the corners of the coffin. As the last was pushed into place, the blades as one started to pulse weakly. Blood began to flow from their hilts and streamed down the side of the coffin, pooling in recesses in the floor. The slim man poured from the bag the blackened bones of a man long dead and arranged them in human form on the top of the box. Lastly, he filled the goblet with blood from the sarcophagus. Holding the goblet to the sky like a sacrifice, the slim man joined the chant of the robed one. It went for hours, the two men concentrating intently as slowly the bones on the coffin began to smolder and disappear into smoke. At the end of the 9th hour, the eyes of the skull blazed with fire as the men fell into a cold silence. It too subsided into smoke, and for a moment there was no sound but the crackling of the fire and the bubbling of the blood. Then, as if by magic, the lid of the coffin slid aside, and from within rose a black juggernaut of despair, a shadowy revenant, the embodiment of destruction itself. From within the coffin rose a being that once was living, a being that once served the forces he even now strives to corrupt and destroy, a being whose very existence defies the laws of mankind. This being was Markas Vestromo. As he rose from the coffin, his lips parted, and he said one thing: "Let them all burn."